One and a two and a humbug funk. Humbug funk. Humbug funk. Humbug funk.
And just like that, gentlemen, we are into a brand new live stream right here on Longbox Punk. It's Monday, and it is the year 2026, which I know I said I wasn't going to do this on Mondays, but life has been a bitch this year. And so I am just throwing in every creator I can to make up some time. So thank you both for being flexible with me. I am joined by the creative duo behind an upcoming comic book on Kickstarter called Essential. It launches March 1st. And to get business stuff out of the way, I've got the pre-launch linked in this episode description. So just tap on those notes, get to the link, go to Kickstarter, pre-save it so you get notified when it launches, so you can be a day one backer and make their lives a little less full of anxiety. But I have got Robert, I have got Jorge. It is great to have both of you here with me. I'm stoked to be talking with the two of you today.
Oh man, thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Absolutely, dude. So, Jorge, you've got the purple light to match the theming. I appreciate it. Robert, you're showing off with the scrubs, which I love. I didn't have anything medical that I could wear, so I just threw on my latest purple hoodie that says "You are enough," because you are. You are enough, my friend.
Oh, those affirmations.
Right? It's so, and on the back, it's like, "Dear person behind me, the world is better with you in it."
That's awesome.
I saw it at Disney and I was like, I think I need that hoodie. And they were running a sale, and it did Instagram, man. Like, it read my mind because I didn't say or talk to anybody about this hoodie. It just,
Did you say it out loud though?
I
next to your
didn't.
phone?
No, that's the thing. I like to play that game where next time you're at a party, because we're coming into summer, and so there's going to be grill outs and hanging out with friends in parking lots late at night and whatever. Next time you're at one of those gatherings, just say something completely random.
Yeah.
And like,
Watch it show
just
up.
yeah, just wait for them to be like, you know how the other day when you mentioned those pink plastic flamingos, I just got an ad for pink plastic flamingos. And like, I love playing that game.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
It is. Always listening, man. It's Big Brother and Little Snitch all at the same time. So here we are in 2026, and we are living out those dystopian futures, but we're also talking about badass comic books. And so I want to get into it. But first, like before we get into the nitty gritty with Essential, I want to know your origin stories. Like, how did the two of you get into comics? How did you start creating comics? Robert, you're on top of my screen, so we'll start with you, and then we'll get to Jorge. No pressure.
All right. I'm distracted right now because is that a Michael Myers on your shelf back there with sunglasses on?
Yeah, sure is.
That's so cool. Oh man. All right. So like when I was a kid when I was in grade school, I got into comics like X-Men and Wolverine and Punisher and stuff. This was like in the late 80s, early 90s. And I would go to local Comic Cons in my hometown, and I had never really read the comic books. Like, to be honest, I always kind of felt like a bit of an outsider because like those stories didn't really do much for me. Like, it just didn't get my attention, but I loved like the way that they looked and everything. So I was actually really into drawing when I was a kid. So I would draw all the characters from the comic books and try to draw all these scenes. And I had all these books, and I really enjoyed collecting them and just like having them. But I always felt a little bit like on the outside, like something was wrong with me because I wasn't into all that same stuff. So, I get into high school and my adult life goes by, and then I just got back into comics as an adult. This was like it was like when Saga came out.
Okay.
And when I read that, I was just sucked back in. And that's when I realized, like, oh, there's books out there that are like like, to me, it was like almost like a TV show, like
Yeah.
it was like the audience was for adults. And like, of course, a lot of the other superhero comic books are like for adults too, but there was something different about those. They just really captured my attention. It was all of like Brian K. Vaughan's stuff, and then I just kind of started poking around for other writers and creators that were like that. And I got into Jeff Lemire, and so yeah, they both ended up being like a big influence. And I was like into some horror comics at the time too. I like Ed Brubaker's like crime noir stuff, and then just some other like random like horror stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's when I like thought, like, like, I really do like comics as a medium. It's so unique. It's just so full of life. It's so freaking awesome. There's like a whole culture behind it too. But I still feel like a bit of an outsider. So then, yeah, then I go and write a book that is like a weird mashup of like a drama and has superhero elements to it. And so like so, even though I never got into superhero comics that much, I went ahead and wrote one. Does that make any sense? But yeah. So
I mean, that gives it a fresh perspective if you're not trying to like make the next Superman or the new, Captain America or whatever. Like it's your spin on what you would want to see in superheroes in comics.
Yeah, that's true. And it's like it actually plays like a really unique role in the story. But I mean, maybe we'll go into that later. But yeah, I mean, that's my life around comics, basically.
Nice. Yeah. And you're not the first person to mention Brian K. Vaughan as one of those writers that like re-hooked you as an adult. Like and Saga is just incredible. Like I picked up the first compendium because I hadn't read any of it, and everybody kept saying like, you got to read Saga. Like Saga is so, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll find that. Maybe I'll give it a shot. And so I picked it up and I was like, oh my God, Saga is so good.
Yeah.
And I had to like reach out to people like, I am so sorry that I didn't listen to you sooner because it's so good.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, and I've lent out that big hardbound book to somebody, and they never gave it back, and I think they moved away. So I have to buy that again.
So terrible. That's the worst. All right, Jorge, what about you? How'd you get into comics?
Well, so I think it all started when I was a kid. Like I've been drawing all my life. I remember having, like, when I was around 3 or 4 years old, like single Star Wars issues, from the 90s. I think they were. I can't really remember. I don't have them anymore. As time went on, like I kept drawing and stuff. Now it's like I've told this story like 3 times in the past couple of days because we've had like like we've been doing interviews for the Essential campaign launch and all that stuff. But like it's funny because I keep remembering things then. Like, for example, I haven't mentioned that a friend of my mom's once gave me how to draw comics the Marvel Way book.
Okay.
But not the original one by, I believe it was John Buscema. It was the Dan Jurgens one.
Okay.
And yeah, that was like mind enlightening to me. Like that was like my first entrance into, oh, so this is how this is made. Like there are actual people behind it, and like they get paid for it and all that stuff. Then as like time went by, I remember I failed ninth grade, and my dad was like, okay, so you might not be so good at this cool thing like math, science, and all that stuff, but you're good at other things. So maybe you should like try to find your way around that, even though it's pretty much impossible for a kid in South America to do that, unless maybe
Yeah.
you're in Argentina, which they have a bigger like comic book culture over there.
Okay.
So I went into it, and like, I started making connections online, and then by 2018 I was already like working on my first script with someone else, and like trying to get paid at least.
Yeah.
And yeah, it started from there. Like I kept drawing and I kept making stuff up, um and eventually I met Robert, and here we are now doing this,
Yeah.
which is nice, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's really no better way to spend a Monday evening than talking into a camera
I
about
mean,
comic
it,
books. I
it's
mean,
it's
Yeah.
weird for me. It's really weird for me. I'm not used to this, especially like not doing it in my native language. It's weird
mm,
a bit,
yeah,
I guess. But I mean, I really appreciate doing this. Like if all my effort put into drawing and making stuff, making comics and all that has led me to this, like I'm super grateful to be here,
yeah. Yeah, and like this is the promotion and like talking on different shows and to different people and just getting the word out about, hey, I'm making a comic book, like you should support it. Um, that's one of the things that no one really prepares you for. It's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like write the script and draw the pages and get it published and printed and you have a comic book. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's all right. I can handle that. And then you do that, but then you're like, well, how do I find the audience? How do I get
Yeah.
people to like want to read this book? How do I do that? And so like it's definitely a skill that
Oh yeah.
everybody is constantly just working at. And
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough that like I have never had a problem talking. And so I like this for me is very natural.
Well, you
And
do a great
also
job.
like, oh, stop, thanks.
No, you have
But
a great
like
vibe. Yeah, you do. It's like your energy.
I just love comic books and I
Yeah.
love talking to people that are making them
Yeah.
because and like I'm gonna jump ahead to part of the spiel that I give at the end of the show.
Yeah.
But like, I love doing this show specifically because I get to talk to people all over the world that
Yeah.
even though we live in different countries and different hemispheres, like we still have the similarity of we freaking love art and comics and making them and telling stories. And like, there's nothing better than that because in a society and like in 2026, when it feels like everything needs to be divisive, still understanding that we have all of these similarities is like just the best. So like I love that I get to talk with people that just have all of the wildly different backgrounds because then it's also like okay, so like when you're sitting down to work on a script and then suddenly it's like that common language of
Yeah.
yeah, like we understand that what it takes to make a comic and run a Kickstarter and find people. And so it just like I just get so freaking jacked talking about that stuff. Like that's what fires me up. And then when I'm done with these streams, I go to my wife and I'm like, I'm gonna create everything in the world. And she's like, okay, can you empty the dishwasher first? And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
right. Right. Responsibilities. Got it.
Right. Yeah.
So but let's get into Essential because like when I read the preview pages that you've got up on Global Comics, which are free for anybody to read, it's not what I expected. And in like the best possible way. I was like, oh wait, there's what? So tell like how did this story come into your brain to be the story that you were like, yep, that's the comic that I need to write this story?
Well, I've been writing short fiction like my whole life. You know, I when I was in college, I tried like submitting short stories to like literary journals and stuff, and
Yeah.
I've always been a big reader of like fiction, like prose novels and stuff. Um, and and then I got into comics, like I mentioned, like around the time that Saga was out, and I was that was when I was heavy into writing uh, my short stories, and and then COVID happened. Um, when COVID happened, I we had just moved across the country, so I felt completely like isolated and alone. I didn't have any social context. Like I'd left my whole social group. I'd lived in San Francisco for like 15 years
Okay.
and in California for like more than 20. And then we moved to Virginia and I didn't know anybody and it was culture shock and it was cold. And then this stupid pandemic came out that was scary as shit, you know, and like,
Yeah.
and I'm a nurse. And so I was working at this big, crazy hospital and, and yeah, and like, I was just like all the feelings, man. Like I was scared, I was confused, you know, because like in my family, I was like the go-to authority is like, what do we do? What is this all about? What does this mean? Because like I'm the only medical person in my little household, me and my wife and two kids.
Yeah.
And you know, and at the hospital they like had a shortage of personal protective equipment, and you know, we had to like reuse it, and people were getting sick and like completely like just like crumping, like they would like go from, that's like a medical term where they like go from stable to just like coding like within like, you know, like that. Like
Jeez.
nobody knew like what was happening or why. Nobody knew how to treat these people, and we were all scared to death of going like, you know, getting exposed to this stuff. And so that was how my day to day was at work. And then we had just had two kids. I had two kids under two at this at the time.
Yeah.
So home was like chaotic and crazy too. Like no sleep, just constant high stakes, pressure, worry, fear, um, and this, you know, this big looming question mark of like, are we okay? Are we going to be okay?
Sure.
What does this mean? And so, like, for me, um, whenever I have this habit of kind of like trying to escape when when things get like too gnarly.
Mhm.
And like what I mean by that is like, you know, everybody has their thing, right? Like their
Yeah.
hobbies or their vice or whatever. Um, you know, and if I wasn't eating like a pint of ice cream like every day,
Yeah.
then like I was writing, you know. And so for me, like I love that feeling of at nighttime and alone sitting with my laptop and I
Mm.
just have a Google Doc open and I just sit there and then it's just like word vomit
Yep.
into the Google Doc. Um, and so I started writing the story, and the idea just came to me of like oh, like I wanted to write about nursing in some way because I wanted to basically like expose people to the reality of the feeling of what was going on at the time,
Mm.
like the intense like pressure and fear of what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
And but I also like that's just how my brain works. I just wanted to do something kind of different, and I just had this thought like I'm just going to write something that like I've never written before, which is more like fantastical. So I got this idea, and I just thought like, oh, superpowers, why not?
Yeah.
um, and so it's this like kind of crazy, like I don't even know how to describe it to people. Like I describe it like a thriller, but it's like it has have superhero elements to it. It's like set in a superhero world, because it is. Um, but yeah, it's basically like what happens to us like when the people that we rely on to take care of us can't. Um,
Mm.
and and it's like also about fatherhood and inheritance and like fear of what we pass on to our, you know, kids.
Yeah.
Um, and like it took me a while to whittle away all the fluff so I could get to the heart of like what this was about because at first when I was putting the word out about this book, I was like really trying to do the thing like I mentioned earlier, like trying to appeal to like the comic book people, like superhero fans.
Yeah.
And I thought I really have to play that up, because that's like what this book is about. But then I realized, no, it's like the heart of it is about the story, about this family and these people going through this crazy stuff. And yeah, so that's just what I had to focus on. That's what I'm trying to get people to see.
Yeah. And it's definitely, it feels like the Jeff Lemire approach of like, yeah, it's a story about this giant bug, but really it's this story about this character and like
Yeah,
the weird fatherhood relation. And like, he
right.
always is, so it doesn't surprise me at all that reading it, and it's like, yeah, it's a story about like, you know, superheroes and sickness, and but also fatherhood and all of those things. And it was like, yeah. And so reading it, it's not like a typical cape story, and I
Yeah,
think that's good because there's a lot of superhero fatigue.
yeah,
So finding way, like, I think that's why The Boys just exploded
yeah,
when it came out on Prime, right? Is like, it was, yeah, they have all these insane powers and they're not scared to like kill people, and they're terrible human beings at the
yeah,
same time. And it was a very different approach. And now you've got, you know, and obviously like Deadpool and the like anti-hero character trope has been a
yeah,
thing for decades, but like The Boys really leaned into it, and like
yeah.
none of them are redeemable at all. And
Right.
then so like I think it just resonated with people because it was this thing that took what you expected and said, nope, flip it on its head. And at any time that writers or creators can do that, where they're like, yeah, it's this, but it's also like this,
Yeah,
figuring out how to make that flip of
yeah,
like, well, I want to do a story about like loss and grief, but I don't want it to be about loss and grief. How do I do that? And that's where I get stuck. It's like, I don't know.
yeah.
So like, I'm curious, Jorge, from your perspective, like when you first started talking with Robert about the story, like what was that like from you as the potential artist that was going to be taking this on?
Well, um, I think it was pretty straightforward in a way. Except for maybe I think Robert was in between, like scared and maybe like I wouldn't know how to put it into words, but like I could tell that this was like him handing me his child in a way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there was like some sort of like maybe lack of trust. Not that he didn't like my work enough, or that he saw my work as something less than what his script was, but more in the sense that he had like this vision for it,
Yeah.
and he was maybe like scared of getting too much in the way of me making the art, and trying to maybe make some changes to it to fit his own idea for it. In a way, I would say so. I think I'm putting too much my words into Robert's
No,
mouth, I guess. But
that's pretty accurate.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was that in the beginning of making this. But then again, like I thought the script was great. Even before reading it, like he gave me like a brief log line of what it was, and I was like, I'm down for it.
Yeah.
I usually I'm the type of artist that can't say no to a new project, but not necessarily because of me making more projects in a way, but like I've had the luck of having just awesome ideas thrown my way.
Mm.
Especially with Robert, because I've been like before meeting him, I was doing like lots of horror and sci-fi and fantasy, and I've always wanted to try like doing a more grounded story. And that was it. Like this was the script made for it, like made for me to try a more grounded, more realistic in a way story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, yeah, let's do it.
That's cool. I think it's interesting too, thinking about your the horror and the sci-fi background to then take on this very family focused fatherhood, like a very almost personal feeling story that might be set in a superhero realm. Um, but like it's really emotionally driven and character driven. Like, do you, when you're thinking about taking on a new project, do you think about stuff like, oh, this could be a good stretch for me, or this could be a good challenge to try something completely out of my comfort zone? Or are you like, nope, I like the idea, let's run with it? And is it like, how do you decide, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. How do you decide like which projects you want to jump at and which ones you're like, maybe not right now, but like, if you get this other like horror type story or something, like, do you go through any of that with creators?
Um, Usually I don't. I like I said, 90% of the time I say yes to any project, but then again, it helped that we weren't doing like traditional superheroes, which it's not a no for me, but I'm not really into it that much,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
And I don't think my style leans to towards what another like a writer for a traditional superhero book would like to see.
Hmm.
Um, in the sense of like my style is it's supposed to be like more gritty, and maybe I get too crazy sometimes with my lines and my compositions and all that stuff. And that's something that's not a house style you would see nowadays. So I was actually like I appreciated that even more so than
Hmm.
doing like traditional cape masked superheroes, you know.
Yeah.
um yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. And like so that makes me want to ask then to Robert, did his style like influence the story as you were writing it, or did you already have the script fully pretty much set and then started chopping it around for artists and like ended up connecting with Jorge that way?
It was the latter. Like the script was done,
Okay.
and like Jorge's totally right. Like I was like I didn't know, I've never done this before. I was scared. Um, like uh, so much of this project has been like propelled along the way through like my ADHD impulses.
Yeah.
Um, like that's just how things get started. Like that's where all the energy comes from. It's just pure like impulse, like not thinking. And when I say not thinking, I mean that like in music and like art, lots of times not thinking is great. It like that's where
Yeah.
the flow is, you know, that you get into.
Yep.
But making business decisions or like decisions uh to like team up with a person, it's like that's not probably the best way to like go into something as pure impulse, like
Yeah.
I've made some pretty stupid ass decisions in my life. And
Same.
like I'm surprised I have a house and kids and like I have a nurse. It blows my mind when I think about it. But and but anyway, like I wasn't completely and totally impulsive with Jorge. It was like I was just got super lucky, and it just I got a good feeling. And I had only talked to like a couple of people, but nothing like really nothing felt, it just didn't feel right. And the one thing I liked about Jorge was like that grittiness. Like there was like something like kind of alive and kind of raw and with a lot of energy. And I love his colors.
Yeah.
And and so I don't know, it had this personality and this quality just to the visually to the art that I really, really liked. And then it just turns out that he's just super cool. And I like talking, you know, it's just we get
Yeah.
along and he likes like cool music. We talk about, you know, we don't like every the same single bands, but we like, you know, we can refer to the same stuff. And,
Sure.
you know, yeah.
What a natural segue to music because you brought it up. I guess we can talk about like what are some of the bands that you guys are like, you like them? I like them.
Well, I mean, Jorge, didn't you do like some posters for what was it the OCs or something? Didn't you do some stuff for like the OC? Like you did a poster for the OCs, right?
I did some fan art for Mr. David Kane. He's another writer I'm working with on a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff at the moment. He's great. Yeah, I did that, but nothing directly with the OCs, although I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like when he was doing some scenes for the script, I'd get these little messages every once in a while from him, and he asked me like if I don't know if he asked me, but he said he was getting like really strong vibes of the band Clutch. And I was just like, yeah, holy shit, I loved that band when I was in high school, like totally. Like that drummer from Clutch was like a huge influence because I'm a drummer predominantly. Like I'm looking at my drum set right now, it's like behind the computer.
That's awesome.
But like yeah, that drummer was like a huge influence on me, like and that band, especially this one particular album. But I was just like, yeah, what are you talking about? Why'd you bring that up? And he's like, I'm getting Clutch vibes from this what's happening in this story with this guy. And I thought that was so cool. Like that just cracked me up because I knew what he was talking about. Had something a quality to like the guy's lyrics in that band, and like you know, just the vibe, I guess. And so
that's awesome.
But he likes a lot of like cool, like, you know, like stoner type doom stuff, like which I really, really dig. I wish I could play that more. I just don't have the stamina anymore to play that kind of music. I'm just old. I'm just old.
So you are a dad of 2 kids, so you get a pass on the I'm just tired a lot.
Tired, old, yeah.
I remember how like when my daughter was under 5, it was just constantly like chasing her around, running after her, trying to get her to take a nap, trying to get her to go to bed, and it was just like I was just tired all the time. Just a constant state of like I always had a can of Red Bull and always had one eye half closed of just I'm here. Yeah. I'm dressed, she's dressed. What more do you want?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So did your like I know you mentioned being a nurse. Did your experience being a nurse during COVID like directly translate into some of what you wrote in the story? Because you've got like there's in the preview pages, there's the patient who's like strapped down to a bed and like losing his mind, and they're just like, oh my god, calm down, shut up, like please just stop it.
Yeah.
And I remember how panicky my parents were during COVID, and it was just like everything, and I was like, just can you please just shut up? Like you're gonna be fine. You don't even have COVID, mom. Like, why are you freaking out about COVID? Like you don't even have it. You don't go out. You live in your house all the time. So like you're not. How are you gonna get it? And she was like, I just like pure panic all the time. And so like, have you had experiences that obviously like names and situations would change to fit the comic, but like, were there things that you took from your real life and put them into the comic?
Yeah, like the vibe, like the way that they talk in the hospital when they're like it's during shift change when the nurses come onto the unit and then they get report from the nurses that are leaving, and the whole little huddle that they have in the break room. And the funny thing you mentioned, you have like your sweater has like a little positive affirmation on it, and like I wrote that in the script in the break room. They have to have like positive affirmation posters everywhere in the break room, and Jorge totally picked up on that. He put one in the break room. It's this little lizard. It says "hang."
Yeah, I saw.
And I was like, "Oh yes, yeah, he got it. He got it." And of course, they're eating
It's
like,
not a lizard. It's like a shitty drawn monkey.
oh,
See, I saw it and I was like, is that like a sloth hanging from a
Yeah.
branch?
but it's
And
so
they're like,
small. That's
"Just
probably why
hang."
it looks like that. It's so small. So yeah, you did a
Yeah.
great job though. I love it. But yeah, and of course they're eating like copious amounts of donuts at like,
Oh, yeah.
6 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I mean, I wanted to get all that like I wanted to like capture the irony and the absurdity that is the professional healthcare system, which is like the absurdity for me was like how these regular people who are hired to do this job get completely underpaid and are expected to do all this insane shit and put themselves at so much risk. And how do they cope with it? Well, they cope with it by just being sometimes kind of sarcastic or callous. But it's like gallows humor, I guess. You hear that about like nurses. But yeah, it's like, when you show up for work and the first thing you just inherit this total shit show, and you're just like, great, it's like, really? Like, I just got here, man. Like, seriously, this is what I got to deal with today?
Yeah.
And then, like in the book, Alex is like, oh, please tell me he's got like a sitter. A sitter is somebody like who's not a nurse, but like a care partner, like a nurse assistant who just sits there all day and redirects the patient with dementia to like, stay in your bed. Like that's a real thing, but you need a doctor's order to get one. And half the time there's not enough staff to get one. And so he asks, did I get a sitter? And she's like, what do you think? Meaning like, no. And then he's like, well, please tell me he's in restraints. And she said, yeah, that was one thing the on-call doctor was good for, meaning like, when they really needed somebody to come through they couldn't get somebody to sit with them, then can we get an order for restraints? Because that's very common. So it's, for people that are at risk of hurting themselves or mostly themselves because they're like not alert and oriented. So yeah, we put them in restraints. I mean, not we just do it, but it's for their safety. So yeah, so the alarm starts going off, and then they run to the room and they see him trying to get out of the bed, and the one nurse is like, oh great, now the bed alarm starts to work.
Right.
And then he's just like, oh my fucking God. He's just like, oh God. Like he just not having it, like seeing that first thing in the morning, And I've been in situations like that, where you have these people that are having episodes and and you just got to give them you got to give them a shot. That's all you can do. And I've seen nurses do really interesting things, like to trick patients, to redirect them, almost like a doctor does with a pediatric patient, like a kid, to like, oh, good morning, like that. And when they stick, like I've seen nurses do that with adults, like to just try to get them a shot of a sedative to get them to calm down. I've seen some crazy stuff. Like
that's wild. God, that's crazy. I could never, ever in a million years go into the medical field. And my daughter is like, yeah, I want to be a nurse in the ER. And I'm like, you are insane. Why? She's like, I don't know. The energy that's there and it's always something different. I'm like, I mean, good on you. Like, we need people like you that want to do that shit, but I could never do that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like doing CPR, you just hear like the bones all cracking under your weight of your arms.
It's terrible.
I was doing CPR on one person during like a procedure that didn't go well, and they had to put a tube in their lung while I was doing compressions on them. And so they were slicing into their chest and they're putting a tube in there to decompress the lung, which is all full of blood. And every time I pushed down, blood was just like shooting across the room. And I'm looking down at the nurses, like I'm just like this. I'm like, and I'm looking at them, at the blood squirting out all over them. And they're looking up at me and I'm just like, are you good? Like, because as soon as they get that tube in, then like,
staying alive.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But we brought that patient back and it was funny because they woke up and they were like, what happened? And everybody's covered with blood.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like how how in the hell? Okay, so Jorge, do you have a medical background, like reading?
Not at all. No,
So, like, what
no.
kind of?
If I had one, everyone under my care would be dead, probably.
Same, same. I would just be like, "Dad, shut up. You're fine. Yeah, walk it off, kid. My legs are broken. Right, get up and walk it off."
Yeah.
So, like, what kind of? I mean, what kind of like research or maybe Robert, you provided like visual references and stuff, or like how? Because reading it, it was like, oh no, that's what I think a hospital room would look like. So, like, how did you capture the accuracy in the artwork?
Well, yeah, Jorge, he tasked me with getting photos, and I
Ooh,
tried walking around my hospital to try to be inconspicuous to take pictures, and it didn't go well. Even like as an employee, like going in because at the time I worked in a procedural unit where we did procedures like invasive, almost like surgeries. So I had to walk around to other units that had like rooms, like a normal unit, and people would like see me with my phone, like kind of just like wandering around, trying to be like normal, and
yeah,
they'd be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm just like, "Oh, nothing. I'm fine." Like, and so I just realized that that wasn't going to work. Um, so I think I just looked online for a couple of things that looked sort of like what I had in mind, and then I
yeah.
sent them to
Yeah.
Jorge.
Actually, the hospital used in like the one I reference is the same one that you work in.
Oh, okay. So you found some stuff online. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, nice. All right.
Things that I would never think would go into like creating comics is that like finding a very specific hospital to reference and then recreate. Like that's insane. And
Yeah.
also, Vaughn, you just walked into some real fun medical stories. That's that's what it is. With the blood spurting, like that's such a visual that I don't think I'm going to get out of my head for the next week. So thank you for that, Robert.
That's not even my favorite. There's like the maggots and the wounds and stuff. And
What?
that was really cool.
I
Yeah.
that's a you might need to reevaluate your definition of cool because that sounds like nothing I want to experience in real life.
It's just fascinating. Like and I guess that's why like I'm fit for it because like it doesn't bother me. It's more like, whoa, what is this? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, and it was funny because all the doctors were like all freaked out and grossed out, and I'm just like, well, what's your guys' problem? Like, this is so, yeah.
Getting even closer with like party streamers and stuff because they
Yeah.
party like a maggot party. That's gross is what that is. I don't know how you do what you do, sir. That I
Yeah.
no
It
thanks.
pays the bills. It pays the bills.
Touche.
Yeah.
Touche. I'm like, like I don't have a problem with blood. I don't have a problem with like vomit and stuff like that. And I've cleaned up after old people and taken care of
Yeah.
grandparents and stuff like that. But like there's a line for me.
Yeah.
And I think maggots is on the other side of that. Like I would rather see that in just like a horror movie or on a TV show or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that in real life. I don't know how you do that.
I know. I know. And there's like a human element there too. That's like, that's like what I was talking about with the gallows humor.
Yeah.
Like, because these are people that this stuff is happening to,
Yeah.
And I think you have to like weigh out like the good and the bad. Like the lady who died that we did the CPR, they did the CPR on when they were putting the tube in. I say we because you have to take turns doing compressions. Yeah. So it was like a whole team, the whole room. But anyway, it was great when she woke up, when she came back, and she was all, "What happened?" And we're like, "We'll tell you in a little bit when you're feeling a little bit better. Just you just try to rest, try not to move."
Yeah.
And that's when you're just like, "Oh, thank God." This little old lady, she's cool. Like she's good now.
Jeez.
And so yeah, we care about these people. But at the same time, it's crazy. The body is crazy. People are crazy. Like the human body is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, okay, to tie it into like Jorge's horror background with art,
Yeah.
do you, Jorge, as you're like, if you're doing artwork on a horror book or something that's really gruesome, like, do you do the same level of research looking for like a arm that's been ripped off to get the right drip on the bone of the blood and tissues and stuff? Like, do you, do you have you ever like been presented with something to put into a comic in your art that you were like, I don't know how I'm going to do that, and I don't know that I want to look it up and see it? Like, have you ever had that, or are you just like, meh, it's just blood, whatever?
Yeah, I think I've had like uh I have been put into making really gruesome stuff. It's not as usual even in horror comics. Like most of the horror stuff I've done are somewhere in between childish and maybe more adult. So most of them wouldn't get into like showing a whole arm being ripped off or something like that.
Yeah.
But in the few scenes that I've done so, like one thing that helped was having unsupervised internet access at a young age.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like back in late 2000s when people used to like leak
Oh yeah.
cartel videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
Um, which I'm not very fond of that. Like maybe some other people that I know, like I know very desensitized people.
Yeah.
So I actually prefer to take my references from maybe Romero film, like
Okay.
maybe Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead is like my go-to for dismemberings, maybe. Yeah,
Oh, that's one of my favorites. That's like my top like 5 or maybe 3 horror movies. It's
That's
The
so
Mall.
good.
It's
Yeah.
like the social commentary on like
yeah,
consumerism. It's just like perfect.
Yeah.
It's awesome. That
yeah,
movie's great.
That's great.
yeah. That and like actually like I would say most of my gruesome stuff. I also like reference it from Tony Moore's work. Like I know he has mentioned that he's studied loads of like um uh like medicine books even to get like things right to
Yeah.
how they would look in a gruesome way, like dismemberments and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that one as well. And yeah, so yeah, very much like horror films and comics. That's it.
I mean, I don't know that you can ask for better inspirations or references or media
Yeah,
to study.
without messing up your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely, so like you mentioned Robert CPR. I had a weird, so I do live video production for a college for like all of their home sports games. And I was working a hockey game, and it was in between periods, and they've got in the arena, there's 2 ice rinks. And so
Mhm.
they've got A pad and B pad, and the varsity hockey was on A pad, and they had like a club hockey game happening on the B pad. And I like, it was in between periods, and I had to run and get a different battery for my camera. And so I'm going back, and I noticed like there were several cops at the back of the B pad, and there were like paramedics, and like a stretcher was right outside the doors. And I was like, what is happening down? And I'm like up on the 3rd level, because that's where the camera platforms are. And they were down on the main level. And I like asked one of the ushers, like, what is going on? He was like, oh, you can't see it, but there was a guy that just like dropped in the middle of the
Yeah.
game, and they started CPR. And then the paramedics got here, and like thankfully there was a varsity game tonight because paramedics are always on hand for those,
Yeah.
and but not for the club hockey games. And so like paramedics were there immediately, but
Yeah.
the usher was like, they've been working on him for like a half an hour, and there was like a whole robotic machine that was
Mhm.
doing the CPR for the like instead of a person.
Oh,
And
I've heard about that.
I had never seen that. And it was just like watching this like basically robot plunger just
Yeah.
doing the pumps. I was like, A, that's insane. And I'm fascinated. And then B, I was terrified because the guy like just wasn't moving. And I
Yeah.
was just like, you know what? I don't need to be watching this. And so like I just kind of Homer Simpsoned and
Into the bushes.
yeah, and like I just like slowly disappeared. And then
Yeah.
eventually, because there, I mean, there were a handful of us that had all stopped, like, what is happening down there? And the
Yeah.
people, like, I don't, it's one thing to see it in a movie, and I love
Yeah.
horror, and I think like this is gonna sound ridiculous. I get in entertained by some of the like crazy kills and gruesome murders and violence and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like you rip the arm off and then you beat somebody else with it, and then
And you're
there's
like,
everybody's
"Yay!"
bleeding everywhere. And I'm like, that's amazing. And I laugh. And but like seeing the CPR machine
Yeah.
in real life, and I was
And
like,
I was,
that's
yeah.
someone's dad.
Yeah.
And it was just like it fucked me up because I was like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be seeing this. And so
Yeah.
I just left. And like it just kind of fucked with me. Like the rest of the night, I was just off because I was like, I don't know if that guy survived. I don't know like what happened, who else was involved. Like, was he
Yeah.
there with his wife and his like, was his kid playing club hockey? And we
Right.
found out the next day that he didn't make it to the hospital. Like they weren't able to revive him. And I
Yeah.
was just like, God, he might have already been gone when I
Right
was
there, yeah, when you're
like,
watching them, yeah.
and I was watching the machine just like compress his corpse. And it was just so like, oh God,
Yeah.
I that was enough for me that I was like, I don't need to see any of this shit in real life. Like
Yeah.
that's the nail. I kind of already knew it anyway, but
Right.
like that's not for me. So
Yeah.
when my daughter was like, yeah, I want to be in the ER, I'm like, you do know you're gonna see some fucked up shit, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I think I can handle it though. Like like I'm fascinated and I want to help figure out how to help those people feel better. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, like cool.
Right.
I just like do some time, as I don't know how, like, I don't know what they call it in the medical field where you like shadow somebody in the ER to see what the day is like, to
Right.
see just some of the crazy that comes wheeling in. Cause it's like, it's not just, like what we've experienced with her grandparents, my parents. It's
Yeah.
not just, like, oh, someone has the sniffles, like, oh, they're snotty and gross. It's like I have a pole that's sticking out of my chest because I went
Yeah.
through a car accident or something insane. And like my arm is hamburger meat. And it just
Right.
like, there's no way I could do that. And so like
Yeah.
all that to say, like, good on you, man. I don't know how the fuck you do what you do, but thank God
Well,
for people that are to have the mindset and the stamina and just the personal whatever that's the chutzpah. I don't know to
It's
be able
just,
to do that day in and day out because I could never. I'm too much of like oh God.
and it's just, I mean, it's just it's, I don't think it's anything special. Like, thank you. I appreciate the props, but it's just like your daughter, like, if I think it just, the field just attracts people that aren't bothered by that stuff, and at the end of the day, it's work. It's like work, just like anybody else's job. It's just like you just happen to work on people. That's all.
Yeah.
You know.
Just happen to work on people. Yeah. Yeah. See, like, so I briefly in college was going to be a biology major. And so I got a job at the biology lab because that's what you do. And my first day, like talking about like walking into just nonsense in the morning, I walked in with my can of Red Bull and a half open eye, and it was like 6 a.m. that I had to be there because we had to prep the labs for all the classes that were coming like every day. So every day we started at 6 a.m. But I got there and my boss was like, hey, it's your first day on the job. She goes, it's your first day. Welcome to the job. You're going to go flip the cadavers. And I was like, I'm going to what? And she was like, yeah, Troy's going to take you down and the two of you are going to flip the cadavers. So have fun. And I was like,
Were they in bags?
So the cadavers that we had,
Uh-huh.
no, it wasn't just like flip the bag and then take the bag off. Like
Uh-huh.
they were already on, they had been used one semester already.
Yeah, so they were
only
all
used-
dissected.
so they were
up.
already starting to like get funky. But yeah,
Yeah.
like we just took the chest plate off and
Mhm.
and so they were on their backs and we had to flip them. No, they were face down and we had to
Yeah.
flip them to face up and we had a
Yeah.
male and a female.
Yeah.
And so I like put on my gloves thinking that's going to do anything. And then realizing like, oh, this is like a 200-pound cadaver. I got to
Yeah, they're
get
heavy.
like
Yeah.
elbows deep under it to flip it. And I just, but so we flip it and the female, they like had the faces covered.
Yeah.
Because that can fuck somebody up. And
Yeah.
the cover fell off when we flipped her. And I'm the one that was like, I'm elbowed, like holding the body, right?
Yeah.
And we're gonna get real personal here. And so
Yeah.
I'm like right here next to the body, and I just flipped her, and the
Yeah.
cover comes off, and I couldn't help but be like, "Oh God, I'm sorry, ma'am.
Yeah.
Oh no!" And I got stuck. I got
Yeah.
stuck there, and it took my coworker to be like, "Okay, Chris, come on, we're
It's
just."
okay.
here. It's okay.
It's okay.
And so like
Yeah.
she did, and I was stuck, and I just, okay,
Yeah.
yeah. And she was like, listen, this is just a science
Yeah.
resource, right? Like
Yeah.
look at that bicep on this arm. That isn't that a great looking bicep? And I was like, that's a bicep. And she was like, right, yes, it
That's
is.
awesome.
She like lifted the chest plate and she was like, look
Yeah.
at those lungs. And it like compartmentalizing it into it's a resource and a tool took it
Yeah.
away from this is someone's grandmother.
Yeah.
And suddenly it was like, oh, okay, no, you're right. That's look
Yeah.
at those lungs. And she was like, see, looking at this kidney, I can tell you that
Right.
this kidney shows signs of fluid, blah, 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 blah. And I was
Right.
like, sure, yeah,
Yeah.
of course it does. Because she was like like she had taken the anatomy and physiology class
Right.
that used the cadavers. So
Right.
she was already super comfortable with it. But I was
Right.
just like, I think I have muscle tissue on my arm. Can I go
Yeah.
take a shower? But it was
Yeah.
like, it was one of those, oh my God, this is my job now.
Yeah.
Okay. And
You're like, what did I do? Why did I choose this?
yeah. Yeah. I was like, maybe I shouldn't be a biology major because I don't want to deal with this anymore. Can I
Yeah.
be done?
Oh,
Oh
man.
man. Let me see. I don't have any other specific notes on the note of cadavers and dead bodies. So the campaign, let's talk about that
Yeah.
for a second. It launches March 1st.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, the pre-launch page is linked in the episode notes. So you can just 2 taps and you're on Kickstarter and you can save it and get notified when it launches. But like, what can people expect with the campaign? Like, what are the reward tiers like?
All right. So we have, you know, kind of the basic stuff that most people have. We have the digital copy. You can opt to get the digital copy and the script if that's of interest to people. I mean, I just thought that was a kind of could be interesting to some folks. I mean, I'm a writer and I like reading scripts. I just thought it'd be cool to offer that as an add-on.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 different covers. Jorge did a really great job of coming up with just some really cool art. And so there's 2 different covers, 2 different physical copies. And then, you know, you can get one or the other, or there's going to be a bundle. And then there's going to be some stretch goals that we talked about. We're not going to really disclose too much of what that is.
Sure.
And then I made some stickers, and I had advertised on another interview that the first 30 backers you can get free stickers.
Nice.
And so like I took one of Jorge's art pieces that he made for the book, and I made it into a little sticker.
That's cool.
And it has a quote on it that's actually going to show up in the second issue. but it's going to be more of like a little, almost like a little tagline, so to speak, for like the characters in the book, sort of.
Nice.
So yeah, like that just tells you where I'm at. I'm already thinking about like number two is all pretty much outlined and written, and the story. I just want to keep going, man. Like but yeah, that's what the campaign has going for it.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So Jorge, when you're coming up with covers, um, how do you land on the artwork, or the look and the feel of the cover? Like, how do you, as you're working through that and coming up with the idea, how do you get there?
Um, I think it always relies on the obviously the content of the story. So I try to think of it in terms of conceptualizing the idea
Okay.
of the issue or story, and also I try to either like put as much of the story into it, or just focus on a certain part of the story.
That's cool.
That's like the main like the first step towards making a cover for me, and then it's just trying out different compositions and yeah, putting ideas together and seeing what works best, what I think it works best, or and then I discuss it with whoever I'm working with.
Nice. Yeah, I just like my brain doesn't work like that. So anytime I see a cover that isn't just eye-catching, but also like you said, kind of centralizes or distills some of the story into just a single image, like that blows my mind. That artists just do that. And like, yeah, that's what I did. And there it is. Because I'm like, you did what? How? Why did what? I can't get there. So mad props. I love the look of the first 10 pages. I think it reads really well. I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people. And so I'm stoked. I know there are some people that are already set with notifications so that
Nice.
when it launches on the first, they're ready to go. And yeah, like once you make the first one, and dude, once you hold that first issue in your hands,
Yeah,
it's just going to be like floodgates are open and suddenly everything is going to become a comic. Like it's just, you're going to be dreaming and scripting and like waking up with ideas of panels and perspectives and stories that you can tell. And at least that's how my brain works and stuff once I started making it. So I'm excited to see how the campaign goes. I'm definitely going to be backing because I like, at the logo is the like the title with the
Oh, that's all Jorge. He came up with all that. Yeah.
dude, so good. Like
Yeah.
I was like, that's and
Thanks.
it fills in the A for a sentence, and I was just like, God,
Yeah.
that's so good. Like just excellent design work in that logo.
Actually,
So
that was Robert's idea. I think the doing
Oh, I forgot about that.
what's that called? The KDR.
Oh, the EKG, the EKG spider.
Yeah,
Yeah.
EKG. Yeah.
I forgot about that. I was like, oh, Jorge did all that stuff. But I do want to point out that I got super duper lucky with Jorge because like I'm so like ignorant about this whole process. Like I hear other creators talk about how they have like people who do color and people who do lettering and all this stuff, and I'm just like,
yeah,
what a nightmare. That sounds like terrible because Jorge does everything. He does all of it.
that's awesome.
From like hand drawn pencil, like all these pages were hand drawn. They weren't done on a tablet or a computer. And hand, but like he does all all the lettering and everything. And when I get it back, I'm always just like, wow, like this exceeds my expectations. This is freaking amazing. So yeah, it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mad crazy jealous of the amount of skill and talent that takes to do all of the things.
Yeah.
Because half the time I'm like, I write words good. And like that's it on my best day. Yeah, no, super stoked for Essential issue 1. And I like hope that you fund in immediately so that you don't have the anxiety of like constantly refreshing Kickstarter to see like where are we at? How many backers do we? I hope you don't have to deal with that. Is it a 30-day campaign?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
What did you do? How long did you go for?
So when we did Barricade Brigade, we did 30 days.
Okay.
Be prepared. The second and third weeks are just like walking through the desert.
Oh man.
It's just like, because you get the excitement of like the lead up and you're doing the promos and you're like, it's going to be great. And then you launch it and you see people that are backing it and you're getting the support and you're like, holy crap, people are backing my stuff. Like they want to read my story. This is awesome. And it's the best high ever. And then they stop coming in like a flood, right? Like you get this flood of people at the beginning that have been waiting to support your book. And then once they all are in, you're like, shit, I got to find more backers. I got to,
where do they come from? Where can I get these people?
Okay. And you like start just, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Can I tell you about my comic? And you just start telling everybody. And like, it's just, there's always a dip. And then madness happens in the last 72 hours. And like, everybody that I talk to that does Kickstarters in any capacity, which is basically everybody that I've had on my show, like it's always the like, yes, launch day, first 48 hours. Hell yeah. And doing the sticker for the first 30 backers is great because that incentivizes people to back early, which then helps the algorithms and all the stupid shit that we have to worry about and think about. But like, that's super smart. So, because then it slows down and then you get towards the end and suddenly everybody that's been like following it that hasn't backed yet, that you're like, hey, we're in the last week. Like, now is the time. You send that update to people and then suddenly they're like, oh yeah. And then like everybody comes out like termites and suddenly you get a flurry of backers. And I've seen, there was a campaign that I was paying attention to, somebody that I had on the show, and like going into the last like 3 days, they had reached out to me like, this isn't working. I don't know what to do. And I was like, just like, don't cancel it. Just wait, like see it through to the end, because I've seen crazy stuff happen and they made, I think 52% of their goal to hit their minimum funding in that final 3 days. And so like, it's insane. Like it's nuts. I don't get it. I wish that those procrastinators would just back sooner. So now for campaigns that I'm following, like the first, as soon as I see that it launches, not as soon as it launches because work and life and shit, but as soon as I know and I have the 5 minutes to like pull up the campaign and back it, like I just do it immediately because like I know I'm going to want to support and back the campaign anyway. So like, I don't need to wait. Why do people wait? I don't get it. I know, so like, just be prepared for that, like just desert of weeks 2 and 3 and expect like wild nonsense of just like white knuckling those last 3 days where you're like, have I posted about my campaign in the last 10 minutes? No. Okay. I'll just do it again. And like, you'll do weird shit. And like, you know, anything that you can do in my experience that's unique to your story to promote it, like those are the things that'll get people. So like you're a nurse, right? Like just fucking walk around with the QR code, like at your hospital and be like, hey, I took some of our bullshit nonsense and put it into a comic and I'm like, I'm kind of really proud of it, but it's also my first one. So do you want to support? If you just win this, you can support it. And like talking, because I also heard from people that they had no idea that we were even running a campaign. And I was like, what are you talking about?
That's all I talk about.
Like, like I'm posting about it daily and doing shows and doing interviews and articles are getting posted and I'm reposting and I'm tagging people and I'm doing all this nonsense. You didn't have any idea? Like we have 4 days left. what are you
Yeah.
talking? And they're like, shit, send me the link. Like, I want to get in on it. And then those friends so like tell your real life friends too, because
Yeah.
they're like they're gonna want to support you and what you're doing. So all of those things, but oh, that's good. Visit rooms with some reading material and just like,
Right.
hey,
I got some.
you could
Here.
We should have a tier for medical appointments with Robert.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
man.
fantastic. He's like, please don't. I don't want to do that. No.
I know. It'll be like a consultation or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hop on a video call
Telehealth.
and tell me about your warts. I would
Yeah.
love to. Oh, it's so good. Cool. Well, all right. So those are my notes and stuff. March 1st, Kickstarter. I'm not done with the two of you yet. We got two more things to do. The first is super easy. We're going to pose. I'm going to take a screenshot and use that as my YouTube thumbnail. Because basically it makes my life easy. Yeah. Make sure you're like super medical and all the things. Get this here. I don't know how do I look like a sick patient?
You know, you can just look like yourself. I'm not saying you look sick.
No, got it. Yeah, got it. Robin.
Sorry. I like stick my foot in my mouth all the time. Oh, terrible.
That's hysterical. Oh, it's so good. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. All right. The other thing that I have alluded to already, and we talked about it before we came live, but I love doing this show because I get to talk to people from all different walks of life that are literally all over the globe. But also we share the similarity of loving comics as a medium, as an art form, and telling stories. And so I always like to end every episode with just I stop talking and I want to hear what you have to say. So I'm going to stop and open the floor to you because Robert, you went first last time. I'm going to make you go second this time. So no pressure, Jorge. But like, if there's anything you want people to hear from you, it could be a sales pitch for Essential or just a, hey, find me on social media because I got a bunch of shit going on. All the things, like anything is fair game here. It's a long box punk. I'm not going to censor what you're saying. So anything that you have for people to hear from you, this is the time to share it. Now I'm going to stop talking. Jorge, take it away.
Well, thanks for watching. You can find me on every social media ever, probably as Jorclank. That's JORCLANK. I do art and music sometimes. You can find that there. Currently open for new scripts if you're into that, maybe. And please support Essential. Yeah.
Solid. Yeah, and I'll just say to extend the like find you on social media, the stuff that you post on Instagram, I always love seeing. So like keep it, like if you like seeing rad art, he's the guy. Jorclank is how you find him. Yeah, man. All right, Robert, you're up. What you got?
So yeah, I want to say thank you, Chris and Jorge, for a great show, and want to just again remind all the viewers that we're launching this Kickstarter on March 1st. We really would appreciate your support. I mean, this story means a lot, and I'm just hoping it appeals to people. And I would love to keep writing it, but in kind of keeping with a theme that we came up with, like talked about earlier, like I just wanted to bring up, for all the stuff I say about like nurses and being like kind of callous or sarcastic, but when it comes down to it, like tying this into like stories and narratives, and like the whole point of telling the story and making a comic is one of the cool things about being a nurse is that you get to like the privilege of being present for people in their most vulnerable moments, and that's when that's when you get to really hear people's stories, and that's when you get to like be a part of somebody's story. And like I just want to offer up in like these really divisive times where there's just a lot of opposition. People are constantly looking for differences within each other to further justify their own biases or whatever. um you know, when the shit really hits the fan, and at the end of the day, you know, as you get to really see that when you come upon a sick person. We're all vulnerable. We all have these things. We all have these stories, these weak points. Um, and I get to be. I'm kind of lucky, I guess. I get to be reminded of that a lot because I take care of people and they're really vulnerable with me like every day. That's almost like around a ton of like open wounds, like psychological, emotional, and physical ones. And that's like really great uh, material for storytelling. But it's a privilege. It's a privilege in a way to be around people and their vulnerabilities and their stories. So I would just encourage people to just not forget that everybody's got their wounds, their things that make them human, and don't forget about that. You know, your own. You know, because that's how we can relate to other people. We can probably learn something from each other if we don't constantly try to fight with each other all the time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nailed it. Dudes, I had a great time talking to the two of you. This was awesome. I'm glad that we finally made the connections happen. Thank you again for just hanging with my insanity that is 2026. I appreciate you both being flexible and hanging out with me on a Monday evening. Hang tight after I end. I got logistics for the two of you, but for everybody else, I'm workshopping new taglines. Instead of telling you to just read indie comics, I'm going to tell you to make some indie comics, because creating is what makes the world go round. I don't like that one. It's going to be different next time. Stay tuned and tune in for the next stream right here on Longbox Punk and find out how I end that stream, because it's going to be different. Talk to you then. Bye, everybody.